Hey, YouTube friends. All right, now I get to do kind of a awkward and fun video at the same time. Sex. And I just felt like said it would be hilarious if I started with this song. So here's the song. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and not you and me, but let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about sex. That was a song that was in style back in the 90s when I was before my before I hit adolescence. Anyways, all right, I'm going to open with this very important passage in the Bible. This actually is the only Bible passage about married sex. All right. So, this passage says, "The husband should give to his wife her conjugal rights, meaning sex. And likewise the wife to her husband. For the wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Likewise the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer. But then come together again, so that Satan may not tempt you." And that happens all the time, that people, especially Christian people, I don't know why, I think they're trying to be holy by not having sex, but actually it's a sin to withhold sex from your spouse. But that happens all the time, I think, where people don't have sex and then they're tempted either to have an affair or to look at porn. And that's mainly men, but I'm sure women struggle with that too. So it's really important that you fulfill that obligation to your spouse. And I will say, it definitely happens that if you or your spouse were sexually abused as a child, that will probably affect your sex life. And I totally understand that. And yeah, it's inevitable. But you have to pray through that, work through that. I recommend that you journal about it. A really good book on the topic of sexual abuse is Wounded Heart by Dan Allender. That book helped me more than any other book regarding my sexual abuse. And yeah, and I would just recommend that you communicate that to your spouse. It's good to talk about things. Your spouse should know everything and anything about you, especially intimate stuff like that. And the more you open up to them, the closer you guys will be, and the better your sex life will be. Like, your sex life reflects the level of intimacy and closeness that you have. If you guys aren't close and you aren't really friends, your sex life won't be very good. But if you are really good friends, you're probably gonna have a good sex life. And I was thinking too that, like, really in any relationship, sex is pretty much 50% of the relationship. Like, 50% is communication. It's really important to talk, obviously. And then 50% really is sex, but also all physical things like hugging. And I think a lot of people undermine how important hugging is, like probably mainly men do. But hugging is really, really important. And you should hug your spouse once or twice a day, I would say, at least. And you should kiss them when you hug. And I will say that I had a little bit of dysfunction with this with my ex-husband. We just didn't really kiss very much at all because he smoked, and I was really turned off by that and disgusted by that, and I didn't want the tar in his mouth to get in my mouth, so I just really didn't kiss him very much. But our sex life was okay. We had sex once a week, every single week for 7 years, and I don't think we ever skipped a week. So, and I think that's pretty standard for couples, that most couples have sex once a week. But it depends on your stage in life. Like, for us, that just made sense because he worked 12 hours a day, so he was really tired on days that he worked. And then I had my two girls, so I was pretty exhausted, kind of, with them. Like, especially if I had to wake up in the middle of the night for them, that would make me more tired. So it just wasn't really a frequent thing for us. But the guy I was with before my ex-husband, we were together for 2 years and we had sex every day. But we didn't have kids, so that was possible. And he was like super athletic, so I think that makes someone want to do that more. Or they're capable of doing it more because they're in really good shape. So, anyways, But yeah, depending on your stage in life, that will predict most likely the frequency of how much you want to or your spouse wants to. And another really important thing regarding sex is that you really need to communicate about it. And I know that I've heard that women are horrible with this, that we think people should just read our minds. But in this situation, both men and women don't assume that your spouse can read your mind. Like if you are needing that or wanting that, you need to clearly communicate that that is what you're needing, and you need to express it. And even if they don't respond right away, they'll think about it, and whenever the time is right, then that can happen. So just be patient. Maybe they need to shower first, or maybe they just want to talk for a while first, or cuddle, or but it's really important that you express it and not hold it in. And I think that men maybe feel scared to express it because they don't want to come off as if there's some sex addict or some selfish pig or something. But you really just need to express it, because if you hold it in, you're going to get frustrated, and that's not good, and that can cause all kinds of issues in your relationship. Yeah, so you got to watch out for that. So let's see. Oh, okay. So there's this really good video that I just watched on YouTube, which inspired me to make this video, and it's called Sexless and Married. And this guy has a lot of really good things to say about that I really, really liked. Yeah, so make sure you communicate. The more you talk, the more turned on you will be to each other. Make sure you guys hug every day. The more you do that, the more turned on you'll be to each other. What else? Make sure you don't gossip about each other to other people, because that will make you turned off to each other. And for sure, you should not ever criticize, if you can, you should not ever criticize your spouse's body. I mean, you can encourage, like, lightly, but you really don't want to criticize their body, because that's going to make them insecure in the bedroom, and they're not really going to want to be naked around you very much. So I think that's a big reason why some couples don't have sex very much, is because one spouse is critical of another spouse, of their spouse, and then, they're scared to, be naked around each other. So yeah, so watch out for that. Don't be too critical. And also, women definitely have a problem with being critical of their man. Don't be too critical. Don't nag them, because I heard in a sermon once, if you nag your man, then you're being like a mom, and no man wants to have sex with his mom. So don't act like you're his mom, because then he's not going to be turned on to you. So I think that's really important to think about. Okay, another huge killer of sex, obviously, is if a man, or sometimes women do, if a man looks at porn and the wife finds out about it or thinks that that could be happening, that's really going to turn your wife off to you if you're doing that, obviously, because it really does count as cheating. Obviously, it's not physically cheating, but it's mentally cheating, so it's still cheating. So don't ever look at porn. I know it's a huge epidemic now in our modern society, but it will kill your relationship, and it will for sure kill your sex relationship with whoever you're with. Another good thing, which you wouldn't think that this would be a turn on, but it actually is, going to church with your spouse, especially if they really care about that. That's a huge turn on. And I will say it's also a huge turn on if you have fun together, like go out and play pool together at a bar, that actually can be a really huge turn on. Just having fun together, not enough couples do that. Like, you still need to date each other after you get married. You shouldn't stop dating, and you for sure need to have fun together. And watching something funny, I think, helps too, to loosen you both up, because a lot of times people don't have sex because they're just too tense and pissed off. And if you can have a good laugh together at some comedian or a funny movie, that will help a lot, for you guys to like each other more again and be attracted to each other. So those are all some things to think about. I hope that you all learned something, and if you're married, make sure that you never deprive yourself from the person you're married to, because that actually counts as a sin. Not many people realize that, but it does. So make sure that you are available when they need you. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out is that Paul says those who are married will face many troubles in this life. And one definite thing that he was referring to was sex, because a lot of times one person will want that, but the other person won't in a relationship. But if one person does, like I said, just communicate it and then be patient and wait for the other person to want to do that too. Wait for good timing. So, anyways, I pray that you all will have a good sex life, and I pray that whoever you're having sex with, that you will marry them if you can, because God would want you to. And God loves you all. Have a great day. God bless. Bye.